You sent over some really fascinating material, this YouTube transcript about a business sales meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed right up our alley for a deep dive.
Totally. And it's from English Podcast Zone.
That's the one. It's actually an intermediate business English lesson, their second conversation episode. But the content, the sales strategies, it's solid.
Perfect. So our mission here really is to unpack that meeting, right? Pull out the key bits about suggesting ideas, how people react.
Exactly. The good reactions, the, well, not so good ones.
And see what we can learn about sales strategies just by, listening in on this conversation.
And I think even if you're not directly in sales, this stuff is gold. Professional chats, getting your point heard, that applies everywhere.
Definitely. It might be a fictional meeting, yeah, but it feels pretty real. You see these kinds of workplace dynamics all the time.
For sure. And the language they use is great for understanding business talk.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Sales are down. The team needs to figure something out.
Right. And the manager, Clark, he comes in wanting concrete solutions. Like,
right.
Now.
No messing around then.
Not at all. So Roger pipes up first. His idea. Lower the prices.
Okay. Simple enough. Why?
Well, he says they need to match the competitors because they're apparently the most expensive in the market.
Makes sense on the surface. How did Clark take it?
Not well. He basically calls it not very creative.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he adds, it'll never fly with Swan. You can almost hear the impatience,
Right. So match the competitors just means getting on their level price-wise.
Pretty much. Being as good as, or at least comparable to, others in the same field, you want to be competitive.
Gotcha. And it'll never fly.
Yeah.
That's an idiom, isn't it?
It is. The source explained it well. It just means, it won't work or it won't get approved.
Oh, okay.
They gave examples like a super expensive marketing plan, never gonna fly, or trying to sell, bikinis in Alaska?
Yeah, that definitely won't fly.
Exactly. Or like a really boring movie script. It just lacks something essential for success.
Okay, clear. So Roger's idea is shot down. Who's next?
Natalie steps up. She suggests a promotion, maybe a 2-for-1 offer or something like that.
Another common tactic.
Yeah.
And Clark, let me guess.
You guessed it, shoots it down again, says that's the same thing, calls it a bad idea.
Wow, he's really not making it easy for them, is he?
Not at all. You feel kind of bad for Natalie there.
So this promotion, she mentioned it's not like a job promotion.
No, definitely not. In this context, it's a marketing strategy, like buy one, get one free, or cutting the price on shampoo for a week. That kind of thing.
Right, a sales booster.
Yeah.
Okay, so Clark's rejected 2 ideas. Things are probably a bit tense.
You could say that. And then right on cue, the CEO arrives, Mr. Swan.
Ah, the boss.
And you see an immediate change in Clark. Like, instantly.
Oh, so?
His whole demeanor shifts. He turns straight to Mr. Swan, all polite, and asks if he has any bright ideas.
Seriously? After dismissing his team's ideas?
Yep. But then it gets even better.
Oh.
Clark takes Natalie's idea, the 2-for-1 offer he just called a bad idea.
No.
Yes. And he presents it to Mr. Swan. So something like they were kind of considering it already. He frames it as a 2-for-1 promotion to get more competitive.
Unbelievable. He basically stole her idea after trashing it.
Pretty much. And what does Mr. Swan say?
Let me guess. He hates it.
Nope. He loves it. Says, I kind of like the sound of that.
You're kidding?
Not at all. He thinks it sounds like something we should consider. Even call it a brilliant idea. And very creative.
The exact opposite of what Clark said just minutes before.
Exactly. The irony is just, wow.
The original podcast hosts must have had a field day with that. What was their take on Clark?
Oh, they didn't hold back much. They suggested he might be, a bad manager, maybe even a terrible person to work for.
Based on this interaction, I can see why they'd think that.
Their reasoning was pretty clear. He wasn't encouraging. He cut people off. It creates this atmosphere where maybe people are afraid to speak up, right?
Totally. If every idea gets shot down like that, why bother suggesting anything?
Precisely. It highlights how just negative responses, even if an idea isn't perfect initially, can really shut down creativity. You need space for ideas to breathe, even the not very creative ones. Maybe offer constructive feedback instead of just bad idea.
That makes a huge difference. They contrasted him with someone else, didn't they?
Yeah, they told a story about a really positive general manager, someone who knew everyone's name, made them feel genuinely valued.
Hey, what was the effect?
People were more motivated, wanted to work harder. It just shows how much that kind of supportive environment matters. psychological safety, you know?
It really does. And it makes you think about managers you've had, doesn't it? The ones who build you up versus the ones who, well, don't.
Absolutely. Even though this meeting was fictional, it really taps into some universal truths about leadership and how teams work. Or don't work.
Okay, so that's the dynamic.
Yeah.
Let's dig into some of the specific language bits the YouTube hosts pointed out, those key phrases.
Right. Good idea. Let's revisit match the competitors. They give some useful examples, like a store guaranteeing they can match the competitor's lowest price.
Standard retail promise.
Or a company saying, it's impossible for us to match the competitors because their own costs are too high.
So it acknowledges limitations, too.
Exactly. And another one questioned if you can match competitors' prices and still keep our quality high, which brings in that trade-off idea.
So matching isn't just price. It could be quality, features, the whole package deal.
Precisely. It's about your overall competitive position.
Okay. What about in the market?
Simple enough, really. It just means in the industry.
Right.
Their examples were like, English pod is the best language pod in the market, or iPods are the most popular MP3 players in the market. It situates you within your field.
Gives context.
Yeah.
Got it. And the big one, it'll never fly.
Yeah, we touched on it, but the examples really help. The expensive marketing plan one.
It'll never fly. It's just too expensive. Makes sense.
And the funny one, selling bikinis in Alaska. That'll never fly.
Definitely not.
Yeah. And the film script idea. The story will never fly. It's not interesting enough. So it can be about cost, practicality, appeal, lots of reasons why something might be a non-starter.
Those examples make it super clear. It's a strong rejection.
Definitely carries some weight.
All right, so besides the vocabulary, the original source also had tips for sounding more natural, right? The fluency builder.
Yeah, that was a neat section. They picked out specific lines and suggested slightly more natural-sounding alternatives often heard in spoken English.
Like what?
Okay, so instead of saying, maybe I will arrive soon, Clark says, the CEO will be here any minute.
Ah, yeah, be here any minute does sound more calm and more immediate.
Exactly. It just flows a bit better in conversation.
Okay, what else?
Thinking about strategy. You could say, we are thinking about a sales strategy. Perfectly fine. But Clark, when reacting positively to Mr. Swan, says, it sounds like something we should consider.
Ah, consider instead of think about.
Right. They pointed out that consider can sound a bit more maybe thoughtful or professional in that business context.
I see that. It has a touch more formality, perhaps.
Maybe. And the last one was about reacting to good ideas. Instead of just, that's a great idea, or even just, great.
Which are fine, but maybe a bit standard.
Exactly. Mr. Swan uses, that's a brilliant idea.
Brilliant. Yeah, that definitely sounds more enthusiastic.
It does. They noted it might feel a bit more British to some ears, but it really punches up the praise compared to just great.
Good tips. So wrapping this all up for everyone listening, we've really dissected this quite dramatic sales meeting.
We certainly have. We saw some interesting management tactics.
Understatement. And we looked closely at how ideas were suggested and, well, how they were received. Sometimes really poorly.
And pulled out some useful business English along the way. Match the competitors. In the market, it'll never fly. Plus, those fluency tips.
Like using be here any minute or consider or even brilliant. Little tweaks that can make a difference. So maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about your own team meetings.
Yeah.
Do you see echoes of Clark or hopefully more Mr. Swans or maybe that positive manager?
Yeah, how does the way people talk, the actual words they use, the tone, affect how ideas are shared? Or maybe if they're shared at all?
It's worth considering, isn't it? How much language shapes not just the conversation, but the actual outcome and maybe even the team's creativity.
Definitely food for thought. We hope this deep dive gave you some valuable insights into all that. Communication, strategy, workplace dynamics, it's all connected.
Absolutely. Thanks for diving in with us today.
Catch you next time.